Awesome. All right, guys. So tonight we are going to go over the current state of the markets, the bear market that we're currently in, where we expect, Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB to kind of go during this bear market. Um, should it continue dropping? And then also, the sentiment of being an investor in this space at this time. And kind of what everyone's going to be doing, so that way you guys aren't surprised as to what's happening. So let's go ahead and start with Bitcoin. So I'm going to pull up our Telegram here. And all right, so we had talked about Bitcoin. Obviously, we talk about Bitcoin all the time, but we had talked about Bitcoin specifically. I believe this is August 26th that we talked about where we're looking for a bullish breakout, which is above our weekly zone here. But obviously, this is very bearish price action. This is a bearish flag pattern. So we had broken that down. And we also broke down why we think Bitcoin could come all the way down between 12,000 and 8,000. And that's purely just based on what's happened before. When Bitcoin hit 20K in 2017, it then dropped down to $3,000. And that was an 85% drop, right? And then from 3,000, it went to 68, right? So now the recent top is 68,000. And if it does drop the same exact way it did in 2017, then that would be roughly around 10K. So that's why we're saying about 12 to 8,000, right in that range is where we think the absolute bottom could be. Doesn't mean that it'll come all the way down there, but we wouldn't be surprised if it did. You know what I mean? It could stop at 15K, could go, could possibly go further. You know what I mean? But since then, since we made that call out, we gotta break out of our bearish flag. All right. So if you don't know what a bearish flag pattern is, just think of this as the pole. And if I connect this here, it's like an upside down flag. All right. So this typically happens in a bear market, and you can see it happen right there. It's more of a pennant, but this is pretty much what it's simulating is price drop from here to here, right? From down here to here. And then it's picking back up, which is forming that flag in between this range. And then it's continuing down. All right. So this is also known as an Elliott wave. And the markets move in waves. They don't just go from point A to point B. They're going to go up and then down and then up and then down, and of course, on the way down, they're going to go down, up, down, up, down, up. All right. So we've gotten a bearish breakout of our bearish flag, which is expected on Bitcoin. Obviously, it's not what we want. We would love for the market just to continue to skyrocket, but that's just not how things work, So us being traders, us being knowledgeable on charts and knowing how to do technical analysis, we're going to be prepared while everyone else is scared, right? Oh, that rhymed. Don't let me start wrapping up here. Hold on here. All right. So while everyone else is scared, we're prepared. All right. So I'm gonna actually coin that. So when everyone else is fearful, we need to be greedy. When everyone else is greedy, we need to be fearful. So right now we are in extreme fear, right? There was only just regular fear last month because why? Because Bitcoin was going up, right? Bitcoin was going up from 18,000, it went up to 25K. So people are like, okay, yeah, this looks good. So we're not as scared. We're going to be buying, and then they just get wrecked, right? So now people are even more scared because they were scared before, right? And they were kind of getting optimistic. But eventually, everyone's just panic selling right now. No one's really holding on to assets. A lot of people are selling at losses, which I would recommend if you're holding on to something and it's dipping, and you're holding on to it for long term, you're better off trying to hold it at least until break even or to when it goes back up. If you have the sentiment that Bitcoin's going to hit over 100K at some point, if you sell at a loss, that's just a loss. You lost. But if you bought at 30K and it's at 20K right now, and you hold it and it goes to 40K and you sold it, that's a win, right? So it's all about knowing when to hold and when to fold. So we hold when people are fearful, right? When people are greedy, when Dogecoin is being represented on Saturday Night Live, and your grandmother and the mailman is telling you about Doge, then that's probably time to sell, right? You need to know when to fold when everyone else is overly optimistic. Everyone is this, we're all going to be millionaires. This is no way. It's just not the way that any market works. Not just crypto. It's not how the stock market works. It's not how commodity markets work. That's not how the indice markets work. Any of them. All right. Because if not, then everyone would be rich. And if everyone was rich, then being rich wouldn't matter. It'd be a normal thing. Right. So we need to know how to gauge this fear and greed index. So when people are fearful is when we need to get our shopping baskets ready, right? That's when we buy the dips. That's when we try to get prices. We try to get those lower prices like Black Friday, like we like to say, right? And then conversely, like I said, when it's greed, then that's when we're looking to take profit and so forth, right? So right now we're in extreme fear. And let me go back to our Telegram. I put this right about there. So I put this in there just so you guys can kind of see what's going on in the market. So obviously, in the beginning, before things start running up, people, they're in disbelief, probably because they were already in a panic state or fearful, right? Because this is right here. If you see right here, this is fear and greed. So right now we're in this fear zone, right? The fear zone is the buy zone. The greed zone is the sell zone, right? So instead of having the fear as red and the greed as green, they flipped it, because technically you should be looking for buys when there's fear, and you should be looking for sells when there's greed, all right? So as it starts, you have disbelief, you have hope, right? You also have optimism as prices still continue going up. Then you have the belief. This is when everyone is telling their friends and family members, hey, get in. To real, then they're right. They're like, hey, yeah, that $10 you put in, it's $30 now, right? And then it goes up even more, and it's like $100. Like, yeah, we're gonna go to I don't know, we're gonna go across the world. We're gonna I don't know, buy a yacht, whatever. People say, and then it starts going down. People get complacent. They're like, oh, it's going to come back up. It's just a matter of time. And then it keeps going down. Then they get that anxiety setting in, and they're like, oh, what if it doesn't come in? What if it doesn't come back? Then they have the denial where it's like, no, there's no way. This thing already went all the way this high. It's going to keep continuously going. And then that's when panic and depression starts fitting in. So right now we're at the stage of, I would say, about panic. Right? Panic, maybe denial. We look at the chart here. We go back to the weekly. We'll take off all my indicators. All right, let's look at this image. All right. Now look at this one. Eerily similar, right? Right here we have this huge upward push. This would be euphoria. This would be where everyone is getting greedy and trying to buy the top and make $1 million, and then they get absolutely wrecked, and then they sell at a loss. They'll probably never touch another cryptocurrency in their life, right? So if you see here, it's right around, in my opinion, is right around panic. So that's why I think depression is going to set in. Where's my ghost candles at? Go speed. All right. So I think right now where we're headed out of right here is panic, and then you'll have depression set in, I believe, once around this level is broken right here. And then our ultimate buying opportunity, I would say, is anywhere below this zone. So anywhere 15 to 14,000 or so, you should be good. But the lower it goes, the better. Obviously, you get better positioning. So let's go back here. So what we're looking for is to catch the next wave, right? Once disbelief, hope, optimism, all these things start lining up, we're already buying, right? We're already buying as markets start to recover after this cycle is being completed, right? So that's what I'm personally seeing on Bitcoin and where we think Bitcoin is heading. Anyone have any questions on that? Uh-huh. It looks almost identical to that picture, doesn't it? It's because it's literally human psychology. Human psychology. That's all these markets are based off of, is human psychology. Even before there was computers and charts, when there was markets, it was based off of human psychology. That's why it's worked for hundreds of years. All right. So they're not going to change anything, but we're here to break that stigma and tell you what mindset to have as an investor, as a trader, to throw that mentality out the window. Right. It's pretty much just like flipping everything you believe upside down. So that's why so many people can't do it, is because they're so stuck on their ways. They're so stuck on that certain belief that they can't, switch it around. You know what I mean? Everyone's indoctrinated or brainwashed, so to speak. All right. That's why this works so well. But if you flip everything upside down, again, when people are scared, you buy, and people are greedy, you sell, you're going to make a ton more money, right? You're going to be you're going to beat all the retail investors just by doing that one thing. Right. So that's our Bitcoin outlook. Let's go ahead and look at Ethereum. Ethereum, it honestly looks the same, right? So we don't really have to go through much on Ethereum. We've already marked these up pretty perfectly. You can see here when we marked up Ethereum, this is on the weekly. So I'm pretty sure this was before our last class that we had our weekly zone marked up. Romero, I know you know these zones very well. And Jared, I'm not sure if you've been practicing recently or not, but look how perfectly this zone got wicked. And this is on crypto. So it's not, it's not Forex, it's not NASDAQ, anything like that. That this weekly zone literally was the perfect resistance for Ethereum. All right. So if we take a look out on Ethereum here, same thing. You look at this chart and look at that one. Same thing. So I think we have another leg down. Elliott waves, typically Elliott waves and waves in the market come in 3. So if we were to mark this up just as an Elliott wave, we have one leg down here. We have our first pullback, our second leg down here, our second pullback, and then now we're anticipating possibly our third leg down. I don't honestly think Ethereum's going to go crazy low. I think Ethereum, because it has a lot of utility compared to Bitcoin, it has a lot of these other projects, EVMs that are running on it that help it with transactions, etc. If it does break this lower low over here, I think the lowest is really going to go is right around here, around 800 to 600, which is fairly low, but that's a good buying opportunity. Ethereum, in my opinion, is going to go well above 10,000. So Ethereum, let's mark up our money zone. So that's what we're pretty much anticipating for Ethereum. Then we'll go into BNB real quick. We've already marked this up. We have our money zone down here. I again don't think BNB is going to follow as much as Bitcoin, just because there is utility there. There's a lot of people that are staking it. There's a lot of people that are partaking in the smart contracts that are deployed on Binance. So, and every time those projects are listed and there's swaps, buys and sells, there's a small percentage that actually goes towards the main coin, the BNB. market cap. So I believe those things will help lessen the impact. But if it does get below 200, anything below 200 on BNB is an easy buy, because I think it's going to over 2,000 on the next bull run. So I think it's going to be up here on this next bull run, right about here. So if we were to take from the all-time high, which is just under 700, and we go up to about 2,000, that's just under 200% from its previous all-time high. All right. So again, trading and technical analysis is literally just looking to the left or looking in the past and getting clues. All right. So a previous all-time high here would be right here, would be right about 300, 372. So if we go from this all-time high to this one is 91%. And if we go over here to this previous all-time high to this one, you have about 700%. Earlier on, you're going to get much higher percentages. But I do believe we're going to get around a 200% increase from the previous all-time high on BNB. All right, so that's Bitcoin, that's Ethereum, that is BNB. Three of the major, technically I should think is still the top three. I think BNB is maybe fourth or fifth. Let's see. All right, yeah. So BNB is the fifth, but honestly, these coins are just stable coins, so they really don't count, in my opinion. They just stay $1. They're never going to go above or below $1 unless something crazy happens. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB being the top three cryptocurrencies that are not a stable coin. All right. All right, so those are the top three markups. You guys should already have them. I posted them in the Discord, of course, and then recently in the Telegram. Now we're going to go over alt season. So altcoin season is, oh, snap, I should reopen that closed tab. All right, so altcoin season is pretty much measured when the dominance of Ethereum is gaining on Bitcoin. So you can see right now BTC is at 37.6% and Ethereum is at 20.4%. This dominance is based on the total market cap. So on this total market cap here, just under $1 trillion, Bitcoin has 37.6% of it, and then Ethereum has 20%. So as Ethereum goes up and Bitcoin comes down, what that's indicating is that price or investors are investing into Ethereum at a higher rate than Bitcoin, meaning that alternative investments are up. So once that happens, the investments from Ethereum will then start to trickle down to BNB, XRP, Solana, Polkadot. So if people are buying the second in command, so to speak, instead of the top dog, the Bitcoin, if they're buying, even if Bitcoin's going up as well, but they're buying more of Ethereum than they are Bitcoin at a higher rate, then you're going to see profits start to trickle over into these lower cryptos, which obviously will then spill over into those smart contracts that are deployed onto those cryptos, right? So how do we measure the actual altcoin season? A lot of people don't know this, but what I do is I actually look at Ethereum BTC. So what we're doing, and you guys may have seen this before, we've gone through this several times. So if we start from the beginning, again, anytime that these green candles go up like this, that means that Ethereum's dominance is gaining on Bitcoin, right? It doesn't mean it's taking it over. It just means that it's gaining on it. It's getting more dominance compared to what Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's slipping a little bit as far as dominance, and Ethereum is gaining. All right. So what happened the first time, and this pattern plays out each time, it had its all-time high here. I'll make this a little bit bigger for you guys. So I had its all-time high here when it released back in 2015 and went and consolidated, formed this cup or saucer bottom, cup and handle pattern, whichever one you want to say. And then absolutely shattered this previous all-time high, right? So boom, back in 2015, 2016, you saw a huge surge in other projects, altcoins, and obviously Ethereum. So after that, then you have, you have the same pattern playing out where, that was the euphoria at the time, and then complacency, anxiety, panic, depression, right? So people who bought in around here are now, second guessing themselves. And then when they're getting negative, they're getting depressed, etc., then they sell off and then it takes off again, right? So then this next one, you'll see how much I have to move my screen. So this next one does the same thing. It breaks that all-time high, comes back and retests it as support, which is something that we talk about a lot, and then ultimately breaks it and creates a new all-time high. What happens after that? Let's look at this again. Right? We look at this chart, look at this again. You're seeing this pattern happen time and time again. And that's the main thing with trading and with technical analysis, is when you start to see these patterns forming time and time again and happening over and over, why would you not prepare yourself for it to happen again? Right? It's a pattern for a reason. That means it's happening over time. A lot of people just don't have the patience, because if you see these moves, from this move to this move, here was 31 bars, so it's 31 weeks for this to happen. And then for this one to happen, it took 56 weeks, so over a year. And then right now, from this point on, we're still waiting 281 weeks. So, pretty much 4 years. All right, so people will get burnt out. They don't have the patience, things come up or whatever. So the same thing that happened these two previous times is what we're anticipating happening here. So this is our saucer bottom or cup and handle that happened here, here, and here. All right. And then what we're anticipating is this blue line. We're anticipating this blue line to shatter this all-time high as it's done previously. And what may happen, because it's happened before, is once it breaks this, it may give us a retest here and then continue up. It may do that, may not, but we're already prepared for it. We're already measuring this. So as these candles start to break, you can see I have an alert here. As these candles start to break this previous structure, all-time high is up here, but the previous structure is being broken, then that means that it's on its way to break that all-time high, right? It's basic market structure. So it's just breaking these previous, these previous highs. Not the all-time high, but these previous highs that were set, right? So as price goes up and price is increasing on Ethereum BTC, then we can see altcoin season coming, because now we're going to see more alternative investments. We're going to see an overflow of profits being taken from Bitcoin and being put into Ethereum, being put into BNB, and so on, right? So by measuring this chart effectively, we're able to see when the next altcoin season is going to happen, right? So if that doesn't make sense, feel free to ask questions or message in the chat or whatnot. But I have gone over this a few times, so make sure if you don't get it that you ask questions. That's the only way you're going to figure out what exactly I'm talking about. So in my opinion, if we're to look at this chart, I think we're at hope or optimism right here, coming back to it, because obviously went through the depression stage, which is all of this right here, and then we may have disbelief that, oh, it's coming back, hope, this could be the hope right here, and then boom, coming down, max financial opportunity, and then this could be forming optimism. This could form optimism right here. And then you have this little pull down right here. Boom. Belief. And then thrill. All the way to the top here, you're going to have thrill and then euphoria. Right. So before this thing stalls out, since we're marking this up and we're tracking this, we're going to kind of know, okay, this is what is most likely to happen. And once it gets to this level, we may want to look at starting to take some of our profits off of the board, because the cycle is just going to continue. Right. Now, if you're long-term holding something, like for instance, a person who bought Bitcoin at like $10 and it went to 100, it went to 1,000, it went to 10,000 and it didn't sell, then that's fine. You always have the ability to hold long-term and just hold everything out. But as a trader, if you had held Bitcoin from, let's say, 100 to 20,000, right? And you took some profits, maybe you sold 60, 80%, you could use the profits from selling at 60, 80%, and you could have reinvested it. Let's go back here. You could have reinvested it down here around $5,000 to $3,000, and then now you own more Bitcoin. And then on this next run, you're going to have more profit than if you would have just held the whole time. As long as you're getting back in with the profits that you take on a long-term investment, it's smart to do it that way. All right, so we've gone over the major markups: Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB. We've also gone over the altcoin. Let's take a look at some of these other coins that we're tracking. Everything is fairly bearish because it's following Bitcoin. Crypto.com, like I said, my price target long term is $5 plus. So at 11 cents to steal, even if you're buying $10, $20 at a time, a month or a week or whatever, I would accumulate some, here and there. If you got more money, you make money in some of the call outs that we do or trading, whatever, I definitely recommend investing in Crow. I think that has one of the biggest opportunities because of all of their marketing, their partnerships with UFC, F1 Formula Racing. They own a basketball stadium with one of the most popular teams, the Lakers. They have a ton going for them. Seller, I have talked about Seller several times. We called Seller out. I believe it was around 2-3 cents, and it spiked to around 8 to 9 cents and then sold off. I personally got into it around 1 to 2 cents, and it went all the way up to 20 cents. So I think Seller's a good altcoin. It's below 1 billion in market cap. So as things progress, this could be a very good investment. Of course, not financial advice. This is going to be uploaded to our YouTube. So any investment you decide to get into, do your own research. I'm purely just speaking about my experience as an investor and what I am doing. And I recommend you get a financial advisor before placing any sort of trade or anything like that. Obviously, XRP was one of my first investments. And I think XRP is going to be huge once they get rid of the SEC and all that, because it is regulated.
So, hey, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think, like this seller now, okay, what do you see seller projected to, like, towards the next run? Because it's actually very low right now. Sitting at that 1 cent, you think it's going to hit something like $1 or $2, something like that?
I definitely think eventually, as long as they keep on doing what they're doing, which is providing utility and solving problems, I think it has a potential to. It is really low, like right around their original starting price, but it has been lower. So as long as everything holds up, I definitely see it hitting. I think it'll hit 50 cents. Not long term, but I think it could definitely hit $1 mid to long term for sure. I like the project a lot. It's already made me good money, so I wouldn't complain if it fizzled out, because I've already made good money. So when investing in things like this at 1 cent and it goes to $1, if you bought 10,000 shares, that's is that $100 right now? Let's see. Oh, did that wrong. Yeah. So $100 right now, that's not a crazy risky investment, but of course, I don't know anyone's pockets besides my own. But let's say you bought, $100 worth now at a penny, it's 10,000. You hold it for 2-3 years and it ends up being 10,000. I consider that to be a very good investment. But if you want to accumulate, that's kind of what I'm doing, is I'm accumulating as it's dipping further. So I believe I don't have a crazy amount in it. I have 100,000 something. So, I've probably invested, I don't know, probably like $700 to $800 total into seller. But I've also made profits off of seller because I got on this initial move. So I took profits when this was happening, and then I'm reinvesting them on the dips. Not investing all my profit because I always take my initials back. You know what I mean? You want to make sure you can keep on investing. So you want to make sure you get your initials back in some profit. But I think $700, $800, sit on that for 2-3 years and it turns into 100,000. I consider that to be an amazing investment. But of course, you need to mind your risk. Nothing's guaranteed. You never know what could happen, but I like them a lot. I've done a lot of research on them. They've got a lot of good partnerships. So I think as the market recovers, they're going to recover very quickly as well. Have you heard of Seller before, or is this the first time you heard of Seller, Kelvin?
No, I think it's the first time I heard about it. Well, anytime I see something at in the cents or in the pennies, and especially when you look at, the chart looking like that it's bottomed out. It's always good to put some money into it because you can never lose, when it goes down like that. So, I was just
Right.
asking.
As long as you mind your risk.
Yeah.
So it just keeps on bringing up a bunch of other Celsius. It's not what I want. I want Seller. Trying to bring it up real quick. All right, this coin market cap. All right, so Seller. So it's a blockchain interoperability protocol, and what they're trying to do is bring a one-click user experience to accessing tokens. So if you're familiar with Amazon, right, which most people should be familiar with Amazon, does anyone know why Amazon became so popular and widespread? I'll do a little giveaway if someone can get it, like 0.03 BNB or something like that.
Say the question again.
So does anyone know why Amazon became like one of the top companies? One of the reasons why they're like the top warehousing and selling company?
Pretty much scalability, right?
I mean, that could be included, but the specific reason.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Now, what about you, Romero?
No.
No, Kelvin, do you have an idea?
No,
Sure.
just
Okay. Hold on one second. My brother's calling. Hello? Yeah, I'm on a class right now. What's up? Why? What's up? Are you trying to come through or something? Yeah, I played ball and all that yesterday. Oh yeah, I told you. Yeah, no, I rested up, but I'm still gonna do something today. But I should be done here shortly. I wasn't sure if you were trying to come over and hit the weights or something. Look at you. You really slacking. All right, I'll hit you up. Wow. All right. All right, sorry. Brother's being a little punk. I went to the gym the last 2 days in a row and he's supposed to be going with me. Thought he was gonna come over here and hit my bench press. All right, so no one knows why Amazon became this is one of, I'm sure, many reasons, but when they first started was back in the 90s, which is very early on in what's up?
They sold books.
They sold books, right? But it formed from an idea that Jeff Bezos had, right? And every time that he brought it up to his team, they said they couldn't do it. And every time they said they couldn't do it, he said, figure it out. And it took years to do. So back in the day when web was first came out, there was a process for you to be able to buy something on the internet and then get it shipped to your house, right? There's a whole process. You had to fill out your information every single time. You had to put in your credit card every single time. You had to verify. Sometimes you had to even confirm with your email, et cetera, et cetera. With Amazon right now, if you have an Amazon Prime account or just an Amazon account, period, it already has all that data loaded. So if you click on something on Amazon, let's go.
So he automated everything.
He created a one-click user experience. Let's bring this up. All right, so if I wanted to go by home improvement, we'll go to home improvement. So if I wanted to buy a tool and I go here, right, I could click buy now and it automatically buys it and will ship it to me. Nothing, I don't have to do anything else. It'll show up on my doorstep. Right, so it's a one-click user experience. And this is, I mean, a lot of companies have adopted it since, but they were the first one to do it. That's why they don't just sell books anymore, is because they were able to do that. So they logistically solved a huge problem in the user experience because it was difficult to buy things online. I mean, it was easier than going to the store, right? So the internet solved the problem of like, hey, I can order this online, not have to talk to anyone, wait in line, blah, 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 blah. But then they took something that was already good and then they made it better and they made the user experience that much easier. So what I see in this line right here, and this is what made me originally buy Seller at 1 to 2 cents when it went up to 20 cents, was right here. Think about all the things we have to do to get into tokens, right? In order to get into some of these tokens, we have to do a whole process. We have to set up the MetaMask. We have to buy BNB off of our crypto.com or other exchange and then send it to our MetaMask. And actually, before crypto.com changed it, you had to actually swap your BNB to BSC and then send that BSC from your Trust Wallet to your MetaMask if you wanted to use MetaMask. And then you have to go on to PancakeSwap. Then you have to understand how the swapping works and all that good shit. You know what I mean? So there's so many steps and procedures that you have to go through. And what they're trying to do is to enable a one-click user experience. Imagine I say, hey guys, we're going to get into this coin today. And all you had to do is go to one page and you already had your card, your information, and you could just click the amount you want and it goes through. That would solve a lot of problems, right? So they want to do that not only with tokens, they want to do it with DeFi, GameFi, NFTs, governments, and they also want to do it across multiple chains. So there's more to it, but that's the main thing where I saw massive utility. When I think of utility, I think of problems being solved. You know, why do you go to a doctor? You know, why do you hire a lawyer? Why do you go to a mechanic? Because they solve problems. Your car was either broken, you're in legal trouble, or you're sick. You know, people don't tend to go to those professions unless they're trying to fix something. So they're trying to fix something, and that's where I see utility. And why I'm super bullish on Seller. I have a full video breakdown on Seller actually. I'll bring it up real quick. And just play a little snippet of this. So I'll throw this in the chat for you as well.
Huge impact in the Web3 space. Made a lot of connections. We've been scheduling meetings. It's what I like.
And another thing they're trying to solve is so many blockchains are not compatible with each other, and you have to use these bridges and all that. So they're trying to make it to where it's seamless. Instead of having roadblocks up, they want to make sure that it's like everything is seamlessly connected. So that's what interoperable means.
Sectors like I'm not going to be able to cram it into this video. Okay.
Yeah. There's too much.
So what is Seller? Seller is a blockchain. And again, I just said it, blockchain interoperability protocol, enabling a one-click experience, accessing tokens, DeFi, GameFi, NFTs, governance.
Right. And they have some other like advancing utilities. So I see that as a really, really good possible investment. Of course, again, not financial advice for anyone watching this video. It's my personal opinion on the project. So hopefully that went above and beyond for you there, Kelvin.
Hey, quick question
Yes, sir.
about the alt season coming, the chart
Yep.
you're showing.
Yep.
So based on when the top starts going upward, you're looking at what, middle of June, 23, the time frame?
I mean, time frame is that's
I mean, opinion. I mean, obviously, it's your
Yeah.
opinion.
I mean, it is subjectable, but yeah, I mean, you could see it being around then.
Okay.
It's possible, but who knows? You could have one candle.
Right.
You look at this first run over here. When it actually broke out,
It was just one.
it was 13 weeks, so that was under 4 months that this actually broke out. And then if you go to the original one, was 5 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks, so just over a month. So yeah, I mean, it's really dependent upon
Right.
what the market feels like it wants to do.
Yeah, clearly give you a huge bull rush, but I mean, I was kind of thinking of mine, if the pattern just kind of stay the same, it could be that time frame, just ideally, or opinion based.
Right.
But-
Yeah. You could get a huge candle that, like, just one candle in a week that just decimates everything, you know?
Right. That's
See one of these huge candles that happened over here.
yeah, that's a 2 week period right there. Where it all went up 3 weeks. 4 weeks? Yeah.
Right here was within 1 month, pretty much it crushed everything. So yeah. Time's relative. We just have to monitor. That's why I have my alert here. So as soon as it breaks this all-time high, it's like, okay, well, where are we going next? You know? Or not the all-time high. Once it breaks this previous market structure. All-time high obviously is up here, but I don't need to put an alert there yet. Cross that bridge when we get to it. So yeah, that's a good breakdown, good markup session on some of the top cryptos. Now we're going to go into the current state of affairs, like investing into some of these projects during this time. So let me bring this up real quick. And take it back a little bit. Posting a lot. It's beginning of this year. All right, I'm just gonna look for
this. Where have I heard that before? Keep an
Oh.
eye out.
What? I believe it was like right around the beginning of the year. I had so many good plays last year towards the end of the year. And it just fizzled out. What is this? November. Earn Hub. Oh man. $30,000 I'll never get back. Talent Coin. I don't know if Talent Coin is even around anymore. SP. Oh yeah, look, this is actually way back when we were looking at Ethereum, Bitcoin. So we were looking at it this way, and we did actually create a move like this, and then it came back down. So now we're kind of like back around this area. This is way back at the beginning of this year, or actually last year, November 30th. All right, it's January 1st. I'm trying to find something real quick. Give me a second, guys. Soros. It might have been in the other chat. Damn. Yeah, I guess it was in the other chat. But we had called out Meta Ruffy and Solstice, which did 60x and 100x, you know, et cetera. This was actually when Bitcoin was tanking from 68,000. So the point I'm trying to make is that if you find utility, if you find things that can build during the bear season, you know, a lot of it's still going to follow Bitcoin. A lot of it is still going to, you know, not pop off immediately, but if they're building technology that's going to be used going forward, a lot of people that notice that are going to want to be early investors, and they're going to hold them instead of selling in that type of market. So right now, again, if we go back to we go back to this chart, you know, everyone right now is feeling extremely fearful, right? As you can see back here towards the end of the year, there was a lot of greed. This is when we were catching those easy plays. Everything was popping off. So you had 20x here, 50x here, 100x, blah, blah, blah. But then it gets harder to find those plays. Like even in this period, there's a lot of plays that probably shouldn't have even done well, but because everyone is so greedy, they're thinking everything is going to do well. They're buying and holding, you know, expecting to get a Bugatti, you know? So it helps, you know, kind of in a sense when people are greedy for us to make good money on pretty much shit investments, so to speak. But you know, when people are fearful, it could turn good investments, you know, good projects that have utility, it could ruin them or at least hinder them, you know, because the true good utility projects don't care about the chart. They don't care about launching in bearish times or bullish times. Because what they're building is going to change the space. So they know that even in the midst of a bearish run, that they're able to what's the word I'm looking for? They're able to attract investors, and they're able to build you know, sometimes a healthy chart. I'm going to give you guys some examples. So we've been in a bear run ever since we cracked 50,000. Ever since it went from 68 to 50,000, we've pretty much been in a bear run. So let's take a look at some of these popular charts that have popped off. Daily. Right. So it doesn't look super, super crazy now, but this was back in July. All right. July. Let's match it up. We'll match it up with our Bitcoin chart. What was happening in July was right about here. So yeah, we did have a little push up, but I mean, I can't see anyone thinking that we're in a bull run or things are bullish with this little tiny push up compared to this huge push down. You know what I mean? So that was still during a bearish run, and this went. Maybe this isn't the best example. Hold on. Try to get to the bottom of this. Yeah, I mean, still 20x, nothing crazy. Let me make sure I pick some. Well, Alvi. Alex, you want to look at Alvi? I know how much you love it.
What, Alvi? Oh, the one, oh my God.
Yeah, we're kicking ourselves because we wanted to wait for a dip on this, and this thing just took off. So this happened in August, obviously really recent. Still in a major bearish run. And oh no, it was definitely over. It was like 100x. I gotta get this bigger. All right, let's do this here. I guess this is not matching up. No, maybe I'm just not doing it wrong. I don't know, but it was over 100x. I don't know why it's not matching up. Dextools must just be tripping. But this launched in August, right? And it did fairly well. Let's just say it did an 80x. You know, you put in $100 and this, you know, potentially you could have taken out $8,000, you know, during a bearish market. Same thing if you put in $1,000, you'd be looking at $800,000. Oh yeah, and 80,000. I'm sorry, not 800,000. So you'd be looking at $80,000 from $1,000 investment, right? So they're building the first blockchain to have. They're building a blockchain, but they're also building the first virtual reality exchange. So where you know most of these exchanges are just on apps or regular desktop application or website. They're actually going to have it to where you can put on your Oculus or whatnot and be able to interact with the exchange, swap tokens and things like that. So I don't know quite how it's going to work, but it's a first and people see it as innovative. So even during this bearish market, it was able to give an incredible return. I wish it gave me a credible return, but it never gave me a dip over here. So I didn't buy it. Unfortunate. What's another one? TFI. All right, so TFI token. Let's see what the bottom was in here. I don't think it's going to let us measure. Oh, we'll let us measure it. So when did TFI launch? TFI launched around April, March. What was happening in Bitcoin around March and April? It was bearish, extremely bearish. So if Bitcoin's going down, you must think like, well, the whole market's going down. There's not one coin out there that's going to do well and can be a good investment. Well, I'm here to prove you wrong. All right. So if we were to go just from here, not even at the very beginning, go to here, it's about a 30x, 40x. Let's go from the beginning, or at least close to it. Yeah, it won't even let me read it because it's so much. But yeah, I think it was like over 300x or something like that. So, again, if we put $100, that would be worth $30,000, right? During a bearish market. TFI, I never got in it because I missed it. So let's actually look at their utility real quick. It's an integrated finance for Allverse. Not quite sure what that means. Allverse is universe plus metaverse. We're building the ecosystem that connects the metaverse and universe. So they're trying to connect the real world, I guess, with the metaverse. A platform where people can shop and trade real world products with NFTs and cryptocurrencies. So definitely, if I had caught wind of this beforehand, I definitely would have been in this because it is, it sounds like some great utility. TV apps, voucher, trade. So they can redeem the real world product and get the real world item delivered at time of delivery. The NFT will be burnt. So you could purchase an NFT for a real world product and then you can get that item delivered. So maybe they're trying to create NFTs for like Amazon, kind of trying to do a crypto Amazon type of thing with NFTs, right? So like now they're looking to complete their next phase of their moon map or roadmap. So they have the bank version 3, marketing, of course, more sexless things, lend and borrow. So they're going to be doing true DeFi. The shopping is planned for December 2022, more sexless things. So it looks like they've been pretty on top. So this is another thing to keep a lookout. If you invested in the beginning of this, before it started to pop off and you start seeing like, hey, they're completing their roadmap, the team is involved in the chat, they're constantly working, that's a telltale sign that this project should potentially do well. Of course, everything is speculative. You could have something like Feg that did extremely well, made people a lot of money, and then it got hacked, so never put all your eggs in one basket, kind of what I'm trying to say. So we have TFI. I'll do step in. What else can you think of, Alex, that did crazy well? Definitely not. Step in. Alex, you there? You might be muted. Or you are muted. I don't think any of these are the actual stuff. Let me find it. It was GMT. Why is Dextools always weird, man? So I don't use Dextools all the time. Just type in GMT. Yeah, I don't know why it's showing like this, but it did go insane. Let's just look at Bitrise. All right, so as some of you guys know, we you know what? You are really killing me right now. Just gonna type in. I get rid of Dextools. All right. So as some of you guys know, we invested in Bitrise all the way back over here in July of 2021. So we got in very early, and this is what we're trying to like replicate in some of these other projects, is getting in super early. Obviously, as you can see, it just continuously goes up and up and up and up. Went up over 2000x. So I had $75 invested. Had I held everything, that would have been worth $189,000 from a $75 investment less than a year later. It was from July to March, right? But what was happening in July of 21? July of 21 was actually after Bitcoin hit 60. So it went and broke 20,000 in November of last year. Then you got obviously you got March, March in here kind of coming down, kind of ranging, and then ultimately it drops. You have June, July. All right. So July, we did see the reemergence from 30,000 to 68. So we did see a decent amount of movement. So technically, like a lot of tokens moved really well during this time because Bitcoin did. But what happened with Bitrise during that time from July till November? From July till November, it did well, right? It did well. It was like 60x, just under 100x or so. So I definitely took some profit off of that in the beginning, but then price fell, right? Price fell all the way between here and February, right? So between November and February, you had this huge, it was almost 90% decrease. in price, and people, started selling it and were like, oh, this thing, it's already over, that 100x is done. But that's actually when they were working on the blockchain and implementing utility, and they started doing the free audits and et cetera, et cetera. So what happens obviously here from November to February, we have this huge bearish run. All right. So if we go back here, it makes sense that it fell, but then it skyrockets from here to here about 1200%, which isn't crazy. It's a 12x, but if you're already in, obviously that whatever you had left in there, that profit's going to go, 12 times. So if you put in $75 and it's at, I don't know, $10,000, it goes 12x, it's going to go to 120. So mine was actually more than that. All right. So between this period of between February and March of this year, obviously, as you guys can see, February is right here. So we did get a little up push right here. But ultimately, it's still bearish. It's not breaking all-time highs or nothing like that. So how do you explain the reason why Bitrise rose from here to here, right? The only way to explain that is utility. So it doesn't matter about the bear market. It matters really about what the technology, the underlying technology, the utility, the community, and the team is doing, right? Those are the main factors of being able to find a coin, even in the bear market, that you can make an extreme amount of money on, right? So now you will obviously you'll see good projects that fade out. Oh, I always spell Onyx wrong. All right, so Onyx was a call out that we did that did fairly well. Did almost 8x and then just completely bombed. And this was what I considered to be a good project, but people can't hold during these times because they're fearful. You know what I mean? What's another one? Viral Up was supposed to be good. It did well in the beginning, not crazy good, but if you waited for the dip, it did better. But then now, so you're going to see projects that have potential that could possibly, come back around during the bull run that just completely fizzled out. And you know what the team does? The team gets discouraged with a chart like this, and they'll say, "Oh, well, no one will buy." They stop working on utility, and boom, that thing is dead. It's never going to come back because they stopped working. But you'll see, like I said, with Bitrise, you'll see utility, you'll see things that come by and do really, really well. There's one that's recent, which I'm mad that I missed as well, called Rat Boy. I was actually at the beach is the reason why I missed it. But this thing went crazy. All right, and did I believe like 1,000x. It started off at $2,000 and went up as far as $4 million. So if we did the math on that, what is that crazy, ridiculous number? 2,000. It was a 2,000x. So that was almost the same thing I did with Bitrise. So had you invested $75, you could have made 150,000 on that play. And that just happened the end of August. So like not even 2 weeks ago, guys. And I'm really mad I missed this. I'm mad I missed it to call it out for you guys. Like it just sucks, but it is what it is. We're gonna find these. So my whole point in this whole really is that we can still find good projects during the bearish run. We can still find projects that do crazy numbers during these bearish times. So keep that in mind, man. Just remember there's going to be a lot of people that are not going to hold. They are scared, they're fearful, so the sentiment of the average trader right now is to buy and sell as soon as it doubles or triples. So what I would recommend during this period, if you don't want to end up taking a lot of losses, like some of these gamble plays haven't been panning out, but literally the one that we called out, in our Discord. Gold Doge sacked, by the way, is coming back. Let's see. So this one did over 87x, and then ended up even going further. Was Sunku. All right, and this is a stealth, so we were going to be all the way in the bottom of this one, and it went from 1,264 to 107. So what I'm doing right here, just so you guys know, I'm actually calculating the market cap and like the X's that it did. So if I divide this number up here by the starting point, it'll tell me like what the X's were. So it did 84x. I think it actually did more than that. Hold on. Let me see if I can find the actual bottom here. By 680. So I did 157x. So, you know, some of these gamble plays don't pan out, but if you had caught this one and you turned $100 into 15,000, you wouldn't be worried about, you know, losing 200 on this project, 100 on this project. Like you could technically lose like 10, 20 times as long as you're not investing a lot. You know, you keep your same principle the same. Maybe you lose $2,000-$3,000, but you're still up 12K, and then you hit another one for 50x or, you know, 20x or whatever, and then you immediately replace what you've lost from that profit, and then now maybe you're at 25,000. You know what I mean? So some of these gamble plays won't pan out, but the ones that do, it's going to be really, really, really worth it. So, but again, you know, during this bearish time, it's going to be hard for some people to hold and even see those gains. They're going to take that quick 10x, 5x, and whatnot. So, what I recommend, if you don't like, if something's short term and there's no utility in it, you know, at 3x, 3x to 5x, at least take out your initials. So that way, you know, and again, if you're putting $5 in and you're not worried about $5, you know, don't leave it. But if it turns into 50, you know, take 20, $30 out. Now, next time you go to invest in a gamble, you could put more than 5. You could put 10 or 15. You know, you can kind of grow that. You know, if something goes 10, 20x off the bat on a launch and there's really no utility, there's nothing that you could see keeping it long term, I would take 80%, 90% of that profit. You know, it could continue going up and you might be like, oh, damn, you know, I turned $10 into 1,000, but I could have turned it into 1,500. Yeah, hindsight, but you could also have held that $1,000. It's not taking that 1,000 and then held it, and then that 1,500, you probably could have sold it at 300. You know what I mean? So right now, what I would do is really try to focus on the utility projects, ones that you're going to hold and getting in early. And then some of these gamble plays is just really about making some quick money, doing some quick X's, and then being able to utilize that money you made from that to be able to invest in more projects, whether they're utility or not, and kind of keep the cycle going. But as you know, Jared, I'm not sure if you've been through this part in the crypto e-course. We have the pull pay ride, which actually tells you, you know, how to pull out your initial investment, pay yourself profits, and then ride, you know, leave some, because you never know. Just like the person who bought pizza with 10,000 Bitcoins, you know, they didn't know Bitcoin was going to be something one day. They did it just because they wanted to be the first person to do it. So that's really what I wanted to break down today, is going over what the state of the market's in, and then also the mindset of an investor right now that's fearful, which is 99% of all investors in the space, because they don't have, you know, someone like myself or DeFi defenders or a mentor, someone that's been through this and knows like, hey, look, this is nothing more than a good buying opportunity. You know, they're gonna do things that they would normally do. They're going to attach their emotions to their investments, which is never good, you know? But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for tonight, guys. You guys have any questions? Anything? Nope. Awesome. Awesome. What's up, Jared?
What's up?
Not much. I just saw you had unmuted.
Oh, yeah. I'm multitasking.
Okay. You were going to say no.
Yeah. That's good information, man. I wish I'd have gotten a bit rise.
Yeah, man. It's all good. We're gonna find more bit rise. I mean, that Rat Boy one I missed, and technically, since I missed it, you guys missed it. So they happen. You know, it's not gonna be the last one to come around. So
Right.
just gotta keep on grinding, man.
That's all you gotta do, man.
Yep. Just like the Alvy, Mr. Alvy, I'm mad about it. I could sit there and cry over spilled milk, or I could try to find the next Alvy. I could try to find the next bit rise, the next step in the next, you know. The only way to do that is just keep on grinding, which I have been doing. So I'm gonna keep on doing it, and we're gonna break through. I'm not worried about it.
I used to have a phrase I used to always say, I don't cry over spilled milk, I get some more.
There you go. Yeah, pour another cup. Awesome, man. Well, I definitely appreciate it. I appreciate you coming out tonight.